What if they just had a clear-cut definition of what the GOAT is?
Yeah.
Whether it be stats, championship, it's sometimes when I hear people talk, I don't understand the criteria. Is it championships? Is it points?
Right.
Is it I always have arguments with people like, I don't really care who's in it, but I think you should put the right people in.
Yeah.
Right. So right now it's just for some reason LeBron and Jordan. Which is fine, but you're not going to throw Kobe in there.
Ooh. Okay. This one's very interesting. So that was obviously the Hall of Famer, Shaq Diesel, friend of the show, on his podcast a couple days ago, advocating for a while his old running mate, the late, great Kobe Bryant, should be in the GOAT conversation. Stephen A.
I don't like your face on this one, Stephen A.
Do you agree with Shaq?
I don't like your face.
Of course not. I really do. I really agree with Shaq. That's my brother, but I really agree with him. Kobe Bryant obviously is one of the all-time greats. He was an assassin. He was a 5-time champion. He was a league MVP. We all know what he brought to the table, and God rest his soul. But I'm not saying anything, Jay. I'm not being inconsistent. I'm not saying anything now that I didn't say to Kobe's face when we used to debate. And let me tell you something. He was very confident. He'd give anything for him and MJ to be in their primes at the same time, because his mentality is he could take MJ. And MJ would laugh about it because MJ would be like, yeah, that's what he tells me all the time, because Kobe wasn't backing up from anybody. And I get that. But here's where I look at a few things. First of all, again, he's one of the all-time greats. There's nothing to debate. But he's number 2 at the 2 guard. He's not number 1. We all know he's not Jordan. He didn't have Jordan's resume. We know this. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, again, not only did he not measure up to Jordan, even though he came closest, okay, but when you're number 2 there, I have to take that into consideration. I have to take into consideration that you had Shaq for your first 3 rings. I got to take into consideration that you and Shaq couldn't coexist with one another, because we certainly look at LeBron and we nitpick about certain things when it comes to him that lends itself towards GOAT status or lack thereof. We point out leadership questions in regards to that, movement in terms of going from one team to another, even though that wasn't Kobe. We look at a lot of things for LeBron James in terms of what was lacking to facilitate more championships coming down the pike. Well, one could argue that with Kobe as well. How much would they have won if him and Shaq were able to stay together? That's a legitimate question. What about the fact that the last 5 years of your career, so you missed the playoffs, last 4 or 5 years? We got to take that into consideration as well. All of those things come along with it. I think that Kobe, from a skill perspective, was absolutely elite. Greatness, nothing short of it. But when we think about what Michael Jordan brings to the equation, I have to say you're number 2 behind Michael Jordan at your own position. And then when you look at the impact that LeBron has had on winning in his prime years, no matter where he's went, and the kind of impact that he's had, that's why I have LeBron James number 2 on Mount Rushmore. I have MJ as number 1. And then last but not least, definitively speaking, we can argue, even though I think it's Kobe, we could argue about whether or not Kobe Bryant was even the greatest Laker. Because last time I checked, Irvin Magic Johnson was a Laker and a 5-time champion and a quintessential leader who galvanized the troops. And last time I checked, the person that retired as the all-time leading scorer was the one person in the history of the game with one patented move that was unstoppable, which was the sky hook, who was a 19-time All-Star, a 6-time champion, 6-time MVP. We're talking about the great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. All of those things are arguments that could be made against Kobe being the GOAT, but Shaq is right that he warrants being in the discussion because he was that great, where he warrants existence in the discussion.
Okay. All right. Your last part is what hit home for me. That's all I wanted to hear. It's just that Kobe Bryant is in the conversation, because that's the topic here. Should Kobe be in the GOAT conversation, in the debate? And he should be. Look, I think Kobe gets minimized a lot because people say that he was a carbon copy of Michael Jordan, even though I think he was the next iteration of Michael Jordan, even from a skills perspective. I think his skills are more refined than Michael Jordan. Now, you can say that happens as players get better and better over time, yes, that is what happens. But you can't deny the accolades that put him in the conversation for the debate about being in the greatest of all time. Number one, 36 game winners. 36 game winners. Most by any NBA player in NBA history. Clutch. 5-time NBA champion, 2-time finals MVP, 18-time All-Star, 15-time All-NBA, 12-time All-Defensive Team. By the way, the most rebounds at the 2-guard spot, top 3 in assists at the 2-guard spot. So what you're saying is when it's all said and done, you can still sit up here just like you and me, Stephen A. I have Michael Jordan, LeBron James second. But man, Kobe Bryant's name deserves to be in that conversation more because I think there's a sentiment out there when you look on social media and you hear people talk about it. It's like all of a sudden we just want to excuse Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We just want to excuse Kobe B. Bryant because it turns into this LeBron MJ. And what I'm sitting up here on national TV saying with you is, no, we need to start having conversations around Kobe being Bryant being in that conversation because just being in that conversation is an accolade within itself, and he deserves it.
Shaq is the kind of person, because, you know, he's a master provocateur. He knows what the hell he's doing, and he'll create conversation about stuff he may not definitively believe. It's like, yeah, I believe, you know, he'll bring up the question, right? But he know he don't agree with the answer he want people to grab. You know, it's like, is Kobe the GOAT? No, it's probably MJ. But then he'll say, well, how can we not talk about Kobe? Because you said that it's MJ. You see what I'm saying? That's why. You know, man, he leaves that part out because Shaq is brilliant like that. We get all of that. And I understand it. Kobe definitely deserves to be in the conversation, the debate, because he was an assassin. He was an all-time great. But if we're going to nitpick, and this is where LeBron gets us. If we're going to nitpick about LeBron, I got peeps that get on my damn nerves because they want to hate on LeBron at every turn. But then you can bring up stuff about other players, including Kobe, and it gets ignored then because they like Kobe and they didn't necessarily like LeBron. That annoys me. I pride myself on being fair-minded at all times, no matter what I think, fair-minded. And if I'm going to sit up there and nitpick about LeBron, if we just finished talking about another coach being fired, you're about to play for your 10th coach in your 21st season when they brought that up the other day. Kobe had 10 coaches. We never brought that up. See what I'm saying? When you look at some of the changes that took place in the Kobe era, when you look at some of the things that were said about him, okay, well, I don't care about that because he was a winner. And sometimes you got to make those sacrifices. And like Michael Jordan said on The Last Dance, I understand how people feel that way, but you never won anything. So you wouldn't get it. He was breaking that down. And I get that. But if we're going to do that with LeBron James, do it with Kobe. And if we're not going to do it with Kobe, don't do it with LeBron James.
I just a follow question for anybody at home that tries to use all the coaches that LeBron James has had. What has been their success after LeBron James? Ask yourself that question.
That's true. That's true.
Just talk about the greatness of LeBron. Ask yourself that question.
That's a good homework assignment. Let's let it breathe.
Yeah, let that marinate.